So glad you could join us today on a Wednesday. I'm Marlon Bowling, your tour guide to the ag commodity trade. I want to welcome aboard the one and only Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. And he's been in Las Vegas here this late winter, and always good to talk with you, Todd, about what's going on in the markets here. Wanted to get your take on what we're actually seeing with the weaker tone in the grain markets ahead of the WASDE report today. What is it that's weighing on it? It seems like it's more than just the report coming out, because all in all, most analysts think it won't be that big of an event.
Morning, Marlon. Well, listen, what I actually see is, earlier everything was down, and now corn has suddenly found the positive side. Beans have found the positive side, and wheat is now only down 5.5 cents. It was down about 12 cents earlier. I don't think there could be any news bearish enough to make these things go much lower, unless they're going to just collapse. And I don't see that. Again, I keep going back to just regular logic and supply and demand is up, supply is down, and of course, we've got all these high input costs that are shrinking or taking away the profit margin. And then you tie in the Fed, which is the cost of money, which is much higher, and that creates a big mess. I can't see any real negative data that would drive these things a lot lower. I could see data that would drive them a lot higher, but not a lot lower.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We are seeing things come well off of their earlier lows from the open this morning. So let's take a look over here on the corn. These quotes from bar chart show May now 1 3/4 higher at 636 1/4, now 2 higher. We have December new crop still lower on the day, but it has come back a couple of pennies from its earlier low. We're at 565 1/2, now just a penny and a half lower. Now in the soybeans, they have been chopping around on both sides of unchanged. Now they're close to the high of the day. May soybeans at 15.21. Now we're 5.5 higher. We had been several cents lower. We have July now 4 1/4 higher. New crop November soybeans are now just a penny higher. We're at 13.74 1/2. Now the wheat market had been under pressure, as Todd was just saying. In Chicago, the May got as low as 685 3/4, but look at it now, 692 1/4. So we're lower, but not as much. We're down 5 3/4 cents right now on that May contract. And in Kansas City, the May contract only 2 lower at 797 1/4. So it has already bounced almost 8 cents off of its earlier low this morning. And spring wheat down 10 3/4 at 842. Now that one is languishing. It's still about a penny away from its low of the day. By the way, in the cotton market, we have that July contract now 47 higher at 84.05. And December 34 points higher at 83.87. Todd, I know you follow cotton from time to time, and I heard from Tony St. James in Texas earlier that there is a real fear they could lose a ton of cotton acres this year just because of the price competition from things like corn and other crops. Just wondered what you're picking up in that regard. Are you bullish on the cotton market this year?
I'm very bullish on basically all commodities right now, but again, cotton has been stuck in a range between 80 and 85 for almost 6 months now. And again, the bad news about that, it's very frustrating. The good news is that it's going to break one direction or the other, and I can't see it breaking to the downside, especially with the lack of production for cotton. Even before we saw some changeover, we're seeing a lot of guys out in Texas, for example, produce 0 last year. So again, we're running tight on supplies, and demand is still there. So we're going to see, I think, much higher prices when it comes down to it.
All right. Well, we'll come back in a moment, and we'll take a look at our livestock trade with Todd Bubba Horwitz right after this.